kids get really sick, we tend to ship them. So we do have experiences in Chicago for those that want the acute care peds. We also have some that are community-based in schools. So if students not interested in traveling to Chicago, we use Lurie Children's, University of Chicago, Commerce, and La Bravida. It's what we use for our pediatric experiences. And then we also use, we have pediatric rotations that are in our community in the school systems. So there's some options there for students. And then for practicum, you can even go further out. And I was telling the last group, some of you said in that system, you can go out, you know, you can have, last spring I had one student in Wisconsin, a few in Michigan, but these were students that wanted to be there, okay? But these are students, they know that it's kind of like we still have class once a week. What we do is you will be finishing in the summer, so you'll have your practicum class that you have to come to once a week. And that class is important because it preps you for NCLEX. That whole class is about getting you prepared. We use a whole testing system that's integrated throughout our entire curriculum, but we spend a lot of time on it at the end, filling in any knowledge gaps that you have to make sure that you, before you leave us, you need to be above the 90th percentile to pass NCLEX. And so that's what we do for you, but it requires you to have some class time with us the way that it's set up now. So that's kind of my spiel. Yeah. Any questions? Okay, I'll be here at the end too if any kind of pop up.
All right, thank you so much. We're going to move to my little bit of comedy as we move into nursing reality. So for those of you that maybe are Gen X like me, or perhaps boomers, you're gonna maybe know what the Real World was, which was this pretty phenomenal TV show. I'm gonna tell you what these memes say in case you can't read them. Nursing school, wherever an answer is correct, but you're still probably wrong. That's pretty accurate, right? The nurse is like, yeah, that's funny. So the one of the sleeping student, he starts nursing school in the fall, so he's doing all his sleeping now. He's been sleeping for 3 weeks. Definitely going to be our recommendation, get some sleep now, because you won't have any a year from now. And then the third, if you're a fan of Harry Potter, maybe you'll enjoy this. Whenever a new student asks me what to expect from nursing school, you're going to suffer, but you're going to be happy about it. And I think that these three means pretty much surmise the experience of our student panel. So I'm going to have our current students come down. They're going to give you the real world. They're going to give you nursing school reality. We're going to let them talk, answer any questions that you have for them. I would just ask that if you have questions that maybe would be about financial aid, things like that, that maybe perhaps I might have to jump in to answer some of your questions. But we will be going over some of those pieces here. So I'm going to have our current students. Could I grab enough chairs? I think I'm missing one. Oh, that's fine too. You can play musical chairs. That works. So I am going to have them take the hot seat, so to speak, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves, tell you obviously their name, where they're from, maybe where their previous undergraduate program was, and then we'll open it up for questions. So
my name's Josh. I'm from Colorado, pretty far away, and I went to school at BYU, Idaho, where I got my undergrad at. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jordan. I'm from like the South Bend area, so I'm like an hour east of here. I guess it's this microphone never works. I went to Central Michigan. I played volleyball there. I have a degree in biomedical sciences. I love nursing school.
My name is Cassandra. I'm from Grand Rapids, Michigan. I went to Spring Arbor University, played soccer there, and got a degree in biology.
I'm Susanna. I'm from Chicago. I went to University of Wisconsin-Madison for my undergrad and got a degree in bio.
My name is Monica, and I'm from Valparaiso. I actually started the traditional program and then accelerated.
I'm Sierra. I'm from Wisconsin. I transferred from a school in Wisconsin last year, so I was with Monica starting in the traditional
and then accelerated.
So I think one of the first questions that maybe is pretty common, if you could give this group of students your best advice on things that they could do to prepare for the program here. Just a short little preparation, but your best piece of advice and what they could do now to prepare for what's to come. And feel free to, everybody can answer, just pass the microphone along.
Get familiar with Kathy Parks on YouTube. For all the ATI stuff, she's awesome.
Okay.
I would just say start getting organized because you have to be really organized for everything. So just start now while you can.
Yeah.
Get a planner and before classes, like set out your schedules for each class that you're in and put them in your planner, because I cannot tell you how many times I've like looked at my planner and thought I forgot something or almost actually forgot something, but it's there and at least it helps you kind of organize your life.
I would also agree with the planner. I have like 3 different places for lists. One on my computer, another planner, and then another planner on my wall. So organization is very key.
I also have a calendar, a desk calendar, and a planner. And all of my stuff is all on there. So I'm not getting mixed up. But I would say find something that releases stress that has nothing to do with nursing. Because I personally, like, my stress relief is cooking. I love to cook, I love to bake. But like when I get home from classes, that's like I'm cooking dinner. I'm not doing anything else. I'm not starting studying. I'm gonna cook because I need to unwind.
Yeah, I think that's important to unwind, like hit the gym, sleep enough, because as soon as you start the program, things are going to change. You might have to sacrifice eating healthy or sleep or working out. So I guess do it now while you have the time, because later on things are going to change. The summer semester is pretty intense. You got 2 tests every week, and it's just really fast paced. So you got to be prepared and get like a tape recorder or download an app so you can record the lectures, because Amy Buckenmeyer speaks pretty fast, so she goes through the slides pretty fast, and sometimes it's like too fast. So if you record the lectures, you can go back and listen to it, or you're commuting, you can listen to them on your commute. So it's good ways to get prepared there.
Very good. So we'll take some questions. Anybody want to be the first one to ask these experts your burning question? Come on. Yeah, thank you.
Now, most of you already have an undergrad and bachelor, right? No, okay, we have a transfer student who doesn't have a bachelor's yet.
Right, so what we have is, as Monica and Sarah mentioned, is that we do have students that transfer to the university and they start their sophomore nursing courses. So they take 201 and 203 in the traditional semester, the fall, and then they take 210 and 213 in the spring. And if they've got everything else done, and in it, the students have to have senior level standing, like they've transferred in the equivalent of more than 76 credits. Like they're coming in at a higher level. They're not just a year at somewhere else. So they do that, and then they start their traditional nursing program, and then at the end of that second semester, so the end of the spring semester, if they've got everything else done, and they have the 3.0 GPA, then they can move into the accelerated program. So that allows them to then not take anything in that summer, because the things offered are the 201, 203, 210, and 213, but then they pick up the accelerated program in the fall, spring, and the following summer. So they finish in 2.5 years instead of 3 years, which if they stayed with the traditional format. But again, they have to hit those standards to do that, and so they have, and that's what allowed them to move into the accelerated program. And we also do have that option for, sometimes we have students that start the accelerated program in May, and as Josh kind of mentioned, 2 exams a week, and the eyes get really big and buggy because you're taking 14 weeks of content and shoving it into 6 weeks. So it's a lot. Every day of lecture is like a week and a half of content in a traditional format. So when you hear accelerated, it really is only accelerated in the summer at the beginning, right? Because in the fall, you're over the traditional semester, and the spring, traditional semester. It's just that all your courses are nursing. So unlike where you're currently going to school, you may have 4 or 5 classes, but they're not all nursing courses. So there's just a lot that goes on. But some other accelerated programs have you taking one class for 5 weeks and then moving on to another class for 5 weeks, et cetera, and ours is not designed that way, as you see from your curriculum. In the fall and spring, you're taking all those courses at once. And so as far as the intensity, for some students when they start off in that 201 and 203 in the summer, even if they have a previous degree, maybe they just have hit that wall and they need a little bit of a break, and so some students will not continue in the accelerated, and they'll come back in the fall as a traditional student, and then maybe give themselves the fall and spring to see if they want to then take it from 2 to 3 or 4 nursing courses. But for those of you coming with a previous bachelor's degree, financially it's advantageous to do the 15 months because that's the shortest amount of time. And you know, when you have a previous degree, sometimes there's some limitations on scholarship and financial aid opportunities, but that does not mean that every single person with the previous bachelor's degree or students that have the qualifications to go into the accelerated track choose to do so, because every student's different. So the reality is we have a track for students to be successful, and what that path is could be different from student to student depending on how their life is going. As we know as parents, sometimes we can't account for life that happens, and that doesn't mean that you can't continue your nursing studies, but for some students it may be on a more traditional path. Excellent question. Next question. Yes, thank you.
What time do you get up in the morning until you go to bed? I mean, how much is spent on your day studying and
Well, I usually get up around 7 or so because I have a theo class at 9, but I don't know about everyone else. I usually cut it off at 11 p.m., you know, usually say 11 o'clock and going to bed, try and make sure I get enough sleep and everything. So, because sleep's important, and it just seems like one student said, you know, it's crazy when the best part of your day is, you know, when you go to sleep. That's kind of how the summer was really fast-paced, that when you hit the pillow at the end of the day, it's just like, oh, this is the best part of the day. But it gets better in the fall, you know, when it slows down a little bit and you can just kind of go at a slower pace. But the summer is really, really fast-paced. Anything to add?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like I'm kind of an outlier. I go to bed at like 9 o'clock most nights, and don't wake up till like 9 o'clock the next morning. Or like sleep. But I also find myself like managing my time throughout the day better. So when I wake up, I have a list of things I need to get done before class, because we have class 1:30 to most days like 3:20. So we have like that 3-hour window of classes, but then we also have like our clinicals on some days in the fall, morning or night. So the days that we don't have clinical are the days where you really have to like get your stuff done. So I have, like I said, I have lists that I wake up, get it done before class, and then after class I usually spend my time studying at night. But
I'm more of like a morning person, so I get up around 6 or 7, and I try to get stuff done since we don't have anything till like 1:30. So then I'll go to class. After class, I try to like not do anything till I'll just relax, make dinner. I like to cook as well and exercise in that time, and then do a little bit more studying at night. So that's how I kind of do my time management, and then I try to get to bed around 10:30, 11.
I'm kind of the exact opposite. I'm definitely more of a night owl than a morning person. So like they mentioned, you don't have class until 1:30. So I won't get up until like 11:30. It's probably not the best idea, because then my clinicals are in the morning, and I just die every morning that I have to wake up. But I also don't go to bed until like 1:30 a.m. So I kind of do the opposite, where like I'll wake up later, I'll do anything like super important that I need to do before my classes, and then I'll take a break, like an hour, 2 hour break after class, just because it's so much that like you will 100% need a break. You need to like, I guess, cool down after going to classes, and then I'll spend the rest of the night studying for literally everything, literally going over everything, even if it's not something immediate, like in the immediate future, like 1-2 days, like even if it's next week, I'll like spend time studying for that.
Is this your fall schedule? What about the summer schedule?
The summer schedule, I want to say classes started at like 8,
Yeah.
around there, and yeah, and they went till like noon. Some of them, there was one day that went till like 2:30, so that just took out a whole chunk of your day. But even then, like you wake up, you do like anything like super important that needs to be done right before class, you go to class, and then again, I would take like an hour to 2 hour break after, and then study the rest of the night. And even then, I wouldn't, like, I would wake up at like 7 and go to bed at like midnight. So even then, I was still more of a night owl.
Well, I have 2 kids, so I definitely have to make a list of the things that I'm gonna do, because I can't study when they're awake. As soon as they go to bed is when I study.
Yeah, I run track, so I have to really time manage around that. So I always have practice after class, so I make sure I get up early, I'm getting everything I need to be done, and then after practice, I always make sure I'm making food, and then really crack down, not stay up too late, get whatever else I need done to finish.